look back, and we're going to look forward as well. But, I just wrote down some notes of what we saw last year, and it was amazing amount of news that came out. And we'll remember back in January when we were pounding the table about inflation is not transitory. Inflation hit 7%, and that was a 4-decade high, and that continued to be the story throughout the year.
It certainly was, as was the Fed's response to it, because at the beginning of the year, Dave, as you recall, they only thought they'd raise interest rates once in 2022, and obviously that was not the case. They've raised interest rates many more times than that, and they continue to believe they're going to have to raise rates in 2023.
Yeah, so we'll have to watch that story, and I start with that because that'll be a story that continues into 2023, and of course, following that, February 24th, Russia invades Ukraine, and that continues to be a story. And maybe we'll see what happens in 2023 if there's some type of ceasefire, but we'll watch that story again in 2023 because of the effects that it has on energy around the world.
Yeah, and it certainly aggravated the inflationary situation, because prior to that, Chairman Powell had contended inflation was going to be transitory. But when you take oil off the market, restrict wheat supplies and the rest, that led to an inflationary spiral. It has begun to unwind, but it's taken a lot longer than the Fed thought.
And we talked about inflation perhaps peaking, and we'll see that. We probably saw that in 2022. We'll have to see with the data supports that in 2023. And of course, March 16th was the Fed's first rate hike, as you identified, and there was many more to follow, followed by March 31st. Derek, it was the worst quarterly performance in 2 years, and it was just a precursor of what we were going to see throughout the year. Moving to April 25th, Musk buys Twitter, continues to be a story, will be a story into 2023. June 15th, the Fed goes and raises by 75 basis points. Again, the second hike, and again, they were hitting it hard.
Well, it was the largest increase in interest rates since 1994. They were behind the curve. We talked about it a number of times that the 2-year yield was well above where the Fed funds rate was. And historically, what the Fed does is they respond to that 2-year yield, and they have responded in kind.
And of course, that was only the second rate hike of many more to come. Moving along, we get to June 30th. The S&P now down 21%, the worst since 1970. It's been a bloodbath.
Well, the good news is it hasn't gone any lower than it did at the end of June. I mean, we're still down about 20% for the year. And one of the reasons it looks like that is we peaked on the first week of the year. So endpoint to endpoint, we were down 20. The one thing I will point out is while the S&P is down 20% for the year, it's up 7% over the last 3 years and 9% over the last 5. So it's all about endpoint sensitivity and still sticking with your plan despite recent weakness.
And we're going to do an update in early January, and we're going to show that, of course. We're going to show the S&P performance, and while 2022 is going to go down as a real ugly one, to Derek's point, we're going to show what has happened in 21 and 20 and 19 and 18 and so forth. And as you point out, that will be the end point. Moving on to, of course, what happened in the UK, which certainly had effects around the world. Boris Johnson exits on July 7th, and that was just the beginning of the story in the UK.
Well, the UK has been really hammered by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Electricity prices are off the charts. The slowdown they're seeing there is much more severe than what we're seeing in the United States. The British pound got walloped. And essentially, Europe is much more likely to fall into a recession in 2023 than the United States is.
And we'll have to see, a lot of people are forecasting a recession in 23. However, some of the Fed forecasters are saying that could go into 2024. So that'll be a story that we talk about again in 2023. But Boris Johnson leaving was just the beginning of that story. Of course, Liz Truss comes in as the new PM, and she talks about tax cuts. She had a shorter history than that one pope that was only around for a little bit. And now an Oxford graduate and Stanford MBA graduate, Rishi Sunak, is now the PM. We'll see if he makes it through 2023. And that brings us, of course, to the end of September, and we have more to talk about from that point.